Hello, my name is Tanya Barlow, and I am a student at the University of West Alabama. I'm currently in the IL 651 course. I had the opportunity to observe Ms. Woodyard, and this was a first grade reading lesson. And I observed the following standards in reading. It was Alabama Course of Study 9C, recognize and produce pairs of rhyming words and distinguish them from non-rhyming pairs using pictures and or spoken words. So during that part of the lesson, I observed Ms. Woodyard teach the Haggerty lesson, and she started with providing the students with an example, and the students did a good job of identifying rhyming words. The next course of study that I observed was 9C, which is count, blend, and segment syllables in spoken words, including compound words, for example, syllabication. So during that part of the lesson, Ms. Woodyard provided an example to the students, and then next she asked the students for volunteers to practice identifying the number of syllables in a word, and then the other students got an opportunity to practice syllabication, and they did a very good job during that part of the lesson. The next objective was 6D, blend and segment phonemes in single syllable spoken words. And I observed the open court blending activity where Ms. Woodyard started with identifying the sound, followed by the students practice blending the words, and then they practice reading the words. And after the students practice reading the words, they practice reading the words in sentences. The next objective was Alabama Course of Study 12A, identify meaningful parts of words and use them as clues to the meaning of unknown words, including frequently occurring affixes. So Ms. Woodyard started the lesson, she introduced the lesson by explaining the definition of the base word. And once the students understood the definition of the base word, she introduced the prefix, she explained the prefix to the students, and then the students practiced reading the complete words, and they did an excellent job with that portion of the lesson. So, Ms. Woodyard, if you could teach the lesson again, what would you do differently?
Basically, differently, I wouldn't say differently. I would just wish I could have more time with it. I would give the kids enough time to make sure they have a better understanding. They did understand, but anything you're doing with time makes it a whole lot better.
Okay, and what part of the lesson seemed to engage the students most?
The ending results. Once they knew the word and were able to play a game with the word, they were really excited about it
And what led you to think that those parts of the lesson were most engaging?
because they were excited and they were asked to do it the next day. They continually wanted to do that over and over again. So that let me know that they really, really enjoyed doing that part of the lesson.
That's great. That's great. How did you check to make sure the students were grasping the intended skills?
We would actually do worksheets so I can see it on paper and I would know that they knew what was going on with it. Then we would play games and having them go to the board. They love going to the board showing what they actually knew and what they had practiced. So that let me know that they knew what was going on and that they knew and understood the lesson.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I also want to review your reading iReady data. I noticed, I looked at all of the students, the domains that the students were tested in were phonological awareness, phonics, high frequency words, vocabulary, comprehension literature, and comprehension informational text. And I noticed in reviewing your middle of the year data versus your end of the year data that your students made gains in each domain, which is excellent. So starting with phonological awareness, what strategy did you use to help your students make gains?
Basically, I would always introduce it with an example. And once I gave that example, we would just work toward them being able to take the example I gave them, put it together so that they had a better understanding of what we were doing.
That's great. What strategy did you use to help your students improve in phonics?
Phonics basically was the same thing. I found out that doing examples with them and showing them hands on, they got a better understanding with it. So I also did that with phonics too.
Okay, and what strategies did you use with to improve your students' high frequency words?
Frequency words was a little different. I would give them words, I would have them to write the words, and then we will also take the words and use them in sentences. So they not only knew the meaning of the words, and writing would show them how to spell the words, but if they use it, they would get treats also. So that was exciting to them.
Okay, and lastly, what strategies did you use to help your students improve in comprehension?
With comprehensions, actually, I would actually give them the information, drill. We had to do a lot of drilling. I would say it over and over. Then I would have them repeat it. Then I would do the pop quizzes. They thought that was nice if they could do pop quizzes. And I told them all the big kids did it, so they wanted to do it even more. And we would go from that. We would just make sure that they understood what was given to them in the beginning.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing all of your great strategies, and the improvements that you made were excellent. Thank you.